a mission of mine. I'll put it out there into the ether. How I'm going to make that happen, one team at a time, is how I'm going to make that happen. But a mission of mine with regards to the high ticket space is to increase that bar, to increase the standard. That means less people are going to stay in this space. Less people are going to last. But what does that mean? That means everyone comes higher. If the floor goes up, everyone goes higher. Businesses make more money. Closers make more money. Setters make more money. Everyone's happier. This is a performance-based industry. Let's take it seriously. I am coming in hot today. I am so thrilled because while coaching another closer today, I was finally able to, out loud, reverse engineer the process that I've used, the internal frame that I've had that has allowed me to go from being a scared little mouse on my calls, having no confidence, no conviction, to now being someone who can lead anyone, regardless of who they are, how old they are, where they come from, how they show up, how much money they make. And I'm going to share that with you because I cannot wait. It cannot wait. If you are at a point in your journey where you're still dreading your sales calls, you're still relieved when the prospect doesn't show up, you're not even calling the prospect when they don't show up because you don't want them to show up, you're going to want to pay attention to this. I was there not so long ago. And I knew what I needed to do, but I didn't do it. You're in the same boat, right? You know what you need to do, but you're not doing it. What I'm going to do is actually break down this framework in 3 steps, keep it super simple. My brain thinks in bullet points, and I want to make it super palatable because rather than this just being some motivational BS, I want to give you action steps so that way you can make a change. You can actually see a change within a week. I said what I said. To pre-frame this, a lot of closers, when you ask them why they got into sales, they say, oh, I want to change lives. I want to help people transform their lives. Oh, I want to make an impact. Oh, I want to retire my parents. I want to build homeless shelters. I want to give back. I want to XYZ, all this stuff. But that's bullshit. Because if you really wanted to help people transform their lives, if you really wanted to retire your parents, if you really wanted to end world hunger, you would want your prospects to show up to their calls, right? You would have the courage to ask the tough questions, right? Right. So maybe eventually you want to end world hunger or put your kids in private school or retire your parents or, do all these things. All of those things, those are the politically correct answer. That's the fluffy thing that sounds really good, but we're not in alignment with that in terms of our actions because it's so far out of reach. If you're a closer who's barely scraping 10K a month, who's not making the kind of money they want to make, who's still dreading their calls, those goals are so elusive that we don't even believe it. Like, we genuinely don't believe it. And so we all start somewhere, but that's not where we're starting, right? So I've been there. That's why I'm speaking with so much conviction on this, because I've been there. You know this. If you've watched any podcasts that I've been on as a guest, it's like, I want to retire my parents. Yeah, that's why I got into it. But you can't start there because we don't have enough conviction in ourselves to even show up for other people. And this is something I say to my prospects all the time. It's like, okay, you want to do all this stuff, but like, how can you do this from an empty cup? So let's have a real conversation about what it is that you actually need to do to put yourself in a position where you can pour from a full cup, where you can retire your parents, where you can end world hunger or build a shelter or whatever it is you want to do. Let's have a real conversation so you can actually get there. Let's have a conversation about what it actually takes to put yourself in a position where when you say those goals out loud, you can take yourself seriously. So the framework is broken down into 3 steps. And then within each step, I'll give you 2 action steps. Okay, well, the last one has 1 because it's a big one. 3 phases and then action steps. Number 1, before you can show up for anybody else, you've got to show up for yourself. That's number 1. Show up for yourself. Because the prospect, you can't say, oh, I'm showing up because I want to change lives. Let's be honest, the prospects don't give a crap about you. These are strangers. They couldn't care less if you got hit by a bus tomorrow, right? So let's show up for yourself first. So that way you build enough confidence and conviction in yourself that you can show up for someone else. So what does that look like? What does it look like to show up for yourself? Action step number 1 is do everything in your power to make sure your prospect shows up for their meeting. That's it. Because at this point in your journey, it's just about the baby steps. It's just about the baby wins. So this is what I mean when I talk about the mini wins. Like, hold yourself to that. Confirm your calls. And then if they don't show up on Zoom, call them on the phone and send them a text if they don't answer. Make sure they show up. That's number 1. That's it. Action step number 2, when they do show up, ask the tough questions and actually challenge your prospects for you. Remember, number 1 is all about showing up for yourself. So all of this that you're doing, it's not for them. It's for you. Challenge them for you. Why? Why do I say that? Because right now in phase 1 is all about proving to yourself that you can keep your promises to yourself. Because you are in no position to hold anyone else accountable if you can't hold yourself accountable. So do the thing that scares you. Keep objection handling. Stay in the pocket. So whatever that thing is for you, if it's in discovery, asking the tough questions, or throughout the call, I should say, or if it's actually sitting in the pocket instead of running off with the first excuse they give you, do that. Do that for yourself. Not for them, just yourself. Number 2 in the framework, now that you've built up enough confidence in yourself that you actually want your prospects to show up, that you want all your calls to show up because you can't wait to help these people, now show up for your prospect. What does that look like? Action step number 1 is be present with your prospect. That's it. We're still not solving world hunger yet. We're still not retiring our parents yet. We're still not transforming, the world yet. Just be present with your prospect. What does that look like? Once that person shows up on Zoom, they are the only person in the world that matters. You are there to help them. That's it. And then action step number 2 is repeat action steps in the previous phase, which are make sure they show up and challenge them. Showing up for your prospect looks like be present and challenge them. That's it. That's all you need to do. That's all you got to focus on. So that way in phase 2, you're building up enough reps of proving to yourself that you can show up for your prospect. Because what this does, phase 1 and phase 2, what this does is it makes you feel so good about yourself because you did all those little things consistently. And when you feel good about yourself, how do you show up on your calls? So it has it has the desired effect of helping these prospects at the end of the day. But if you're going in when you're still shaking in your boots before every call, if you're going into it thinking, I'm doing this to transform lives, I'm doing this to retire my parents, I'm doing this to build shelters, it's like, whoa, it's a lot. And it's so elusive. Remember that it's not a real thing. But if you're doing this to show up for yourself, that's a real thing, isn't it? Now that you have enough confidence and conviction in yourself to consistently show up for yourself and consistently show up for your prospect, now your cup is full. Why? Because you've been closing deals, because you're making money, because you're on track to making 6 figures. Now you can show up for everybody else. So the action step is a big one. It's one action step. Now you can start putting money aside to retire your parents, to put your kids in private school, to build shelters one day, to start a nonprofit, to end world hunger, whatever it is that you really genuinely want to do. Now you can actually put funds aside to do that, if that's even still what you want. Because the politically correct thing that you've been telling people, that you've been lying to yourself about in the beginning, it might change when you realize the impact that you're capable of, the person you become, the leader you become, your goals might change. I'll share from my experience, it did change. It's not to say that I don't still want to retire my parents. Of course I do. That's inevitable. That's going to happen. No shit. Like, it's just a byproduct of showing up for myself and showing up for my prospects. In that order. I don't have to wake up every day and tell myself I'm doing this to retire my parents. That's inevitable. And so now I'm thinking so much bigger. That's like, I'm taking care of my parents. They're good. And that's because I can do that. You know, I'm flying my family out to Cancun this month. And so now that I have such a full cup, I can think so much bigger. Now my goals are so much bigger. It's not about the money anymore. But in the beginning, when you're shaking in your boots, of course it's about the money because you can barely scrape together 5K, 10K. And so that's why the right way to do this is to follow that order. I hope this is all making sense. So it's all about progressive growth. Don't jump to phase 2 if you haven't done phase 1. If you don't have enough confidence and conviction in yourself that you can lead anyone, regardless of how much they make, regardless of how they show up, do not show up for the prospect. Continue showing up for yourself. And I promise you, it doesn't have to take that long. Because you're probably thinking, well, how long do I have to do that? You will know when you're ready. And it doesn't have to take long. It took me, when I did my do or die challenge last year, it was only a week of showing up for myself before I had enough confidence in myself that I could start to show up for the prospect. But it might take a little bit longer. It's okay if it does. It's okay if it takes a month. It's okay if it takes 2 months. But I promise you from the bottom of my heart, because I've been there, I promise you that if you show up for yourself consistently every single day for a week, you will see a massive change in the confidence and conviction that you have in yourself. I promise you. You won't be afraid of your calls anymore. You won't feel a sigh of relief when the prospect doesn't show up. You'll be annoyed as hell when they don't show up because you won't have a chance to help them. You won't have a chance to do what you love. You won't have a chance to really connect with another person and help them change their life. But before you can do that, you got to build yourself. So it's all about the mini wins. That's it. That's all you should be focusing on at this point. If you resonate with being in that point in your journey where you're relieved when someone doesn't show up. Okay? So I hope that was helpful. I hope I was able to articulate it properly because it's something that I've been wanting to articulate for so long and haven't been able to. And I'm so happy and so appreciative of this closer that I've been coaching that she was able to essentially be a mirror for me to really see this and really understand how to articulate this. So thank you so much for showing up for yourself. I won't say your name, but thank you for showing up for yourself every day. Thank you for being all in on your growth, because those are the kinds of people I really like to help and really like to coach, is like people who are seriously all in, because otherwise it's like, what's the point? So thank you for helping me like put this together and helping me like get it so I can help other people, because that's my mission, as I want to help other closers. It's not enough to help 5 people here and there. It's not enough to just, help with my podcast. It's not enough because we all have goals. We all have a mission. We all have a real goal, a real North Star behind this. And it's probably not the politically correct thing. Like maybe one day that thing, but right now we all have an immediate goal, which is to be a certain kind of person, to be the 2.0 version of ourselves. Like, raise your hand if you don't want to be the 2.0 version of yourself. Raise your hand if you don't want to become a better leader. We all want to be the best version of ourselves. We all want to help people in our life. We want to help people in the world. We have a cause we care about. We all have these big goals, but none of that matters if we can't even show up for ourselves in the small ways. It's a ripple effect. And it took me way too long to figure that out. So I'm showing up here for you so that way I can help you shorten that learning curve. So that way, whatever sales frameworks you're using, you can actually back it up by being the person who believes what they say to themselves, what they say to their prospects, what they say to their friends, their parents. That's it. That's what it's all about. And that's what sales gave me. And so if I can give you even like 2% of what it gave me, I will show up every day to give you that, to help you find that, to help you feel that, taste that, believe that. Because we only have one chance at this life. And if you don't get to become the 2.0 version of yourself in this life, what is the freaking point? I'm so passionate about this because that's what it's about. This space is flooded with new closers every single day from these programs that are just churning out people who have a credit card and a dream to make 10K a month, 20K a month. And so in order to make it in this space, in order to rise, in order to actually become a top 10%, 5%, 1% closer, what it actually takes is putting in the work, little by little, day after day, call after call, micro level, to become that version of yourself who can lead anyone. That's it. That's it. If you have to sum up like what it takes to be successful, become a leader. That's it. But it starts with who? It starts with you. This space is full of nonsense. This space is full of low standards, something I'm very passionate about, so low. You get on a new offer as a closer, it's like KPIs, like they're just like, give me 20 or 25%. Just give me that. Please, just if you can do that, like I won't fire you. Like that's sad. That's disgusting. Like if there's anything that I feel so strongly about, it's that. That is gross. So for you as an individual, if you do want to make life-changing income for you, for your family, for your cause, if you want to change your life, you need to freaking raise the bar for yourself. Forget everybody else. It's okay. Like it's okay if everyone else on your offer, they're happy with 25%. That's fine. But you've got to want more for yourself. That's what's allowed me to be a trailblazer. From the very beginning, for some reason, like 20%, 25% just felt low. So I was just like, okay, like I can do better. And because I shifted my internal frame and I told myself like, make 40% your floor. I was able to do that and maintain that. And I've had months where I've done higher than that, it goes up and down, but my floor, you can change your floor. So I'm passionate about that. And a mission of mine, I'll put it out there into the ether. How I'm going to make that happen, one team at a time is how I'm going to make that happen. But a mission of mine with regards to the high ticket space is to increase that bar, to increase the standard. That means less people are going to stay in this space. Less people are going to last. But what does that mean? That means everyone comes higher. If the floor goes up, everyone goes higher. Businesses make more money. Closers make more money. Setters make more money. Everyone's happier. This is a performance-based industry. Let's take it seriously. Why do I care? Because everyone wins. I don't want to be the only one winning. It's so lonely. We can all win. If me, a mouse who was literally having panic attacks before every sales call, literal panic attacks, sweating profusely, had to change my shirt 3 times a day. If I can show up now and lead everyone regardless of how much they make, how they show up, their attitude, if I can lead anyone, so can you. So take this framework seriously because it's hot fire and implement those action steps for yourself, for you, not for the business owner, not for the leaderboard, not for retiring your parents, for you. And let me know how it goes.